Yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people are shocked. A lot of people didn't realize I sang and that I took singing really seriously back in the day. And I was singing in college, before I got Jump Street. And really, I had a record deal for a little while, and that kind of didn't pan out. But I love singing. It's like it was my first love. Right before I got Jump Street, I did a movie called Howard the Duck, which was the duck reference that a lot of people didn't get. Um, and Howard the Duck was supposed to be a monster movie, and it didn't do well at all. But in that movie, I played a I was in a band, an all girls band, and I was so excited. I was only like in my 20s, early 20s, like 19, 20, and I was like, oh, this is the beginning of my music career. I was so excited about it. And then that didn't happen. Then Jump Street came along, and then the producers were like, would you like to sing the theme song? And I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, yes, I would. And so yeah, I did make an attempt to be a singer, but those are days where being on TV wasn't an asset to being a singer. Whereas later on, Miley Cyrus, Ariana Grande, you can go on forever. People that had TV shows were able to end up being, big singing, have a lot of success singing as well. But yeah, so people were shocked, people were excited, and clearly stumping that panel was something I wasn't expecting.
I mean, speaking of Miley Cyrus, we spoke about Diana Ross, Ariana Grande. Like, what type of music do you listen to when you're just in the car or working out or jamming out?
All kinds of music. As you can see, I was not thrown by country night because I have, Angel from Montgomery is like one of my favorite songs forever. And that was a Bonnie Raitt classic, country classic. Linda Ronstadt, I grew up listening to and singing, but I also love like 70s funk, old school. I listen to Tina Marie. I listen to Sister Sledge. I listen to a lot of old school. I really love that music. It speaks to me. Anything from the 70s R&B speaks to me. And so that's what I jam out to when I have a whole, I call it my Evolved Mama playlist. And I put it on when I know I need to just go back to the 70s and be in my moment.
I love it. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with a little Sister Sledge.
Mm-mm.
What about, reboot mania is such a real thing. Like, has there ever been any talk about like rebooting Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
There's been a lot of talk about it, but nothing's ever come around. But certainly Raven and Mark and I would love to do it. And I'm sure Dawn would do it. I mean, so I don't know why we couldn't do that, but I would love that. I love that show. It meant a lot to people, especially in that whole TGIF lineup. I feel like it's television royalty, a classic people love. And wherever I go, people still talk about Cooper. So I'm down for the reboot.
I am down for the reboot as well. What about, we saw you compete for your Hollywood Foundation on Celebrity Apprentice. What is harder, The Masked Singer or Celebrity Apprentice?
Oh, for sure, Celebrity Apprentice. That was much harder. I also recently competed for Hollywood on Name That Tune, and that was awesome. I won $58,000 for Hollywood, which is I call Hollywood my fifth child because it's a nonprofit that means so much to me, but is a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work to run a nonprofit, and so always proud anytime I can manifest any dollars and funds and donations to Hollywood Foundation through my artistry or being able to be on a show or whatever it is. So for sure, Mass Singer was so much easier and so much more fun than that other show. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to have done it and been able to be on for a couple shows.
It was great to watch you. What about, we've also watched you on other forms of reality TV, for Pete's Sake and Meet the Pete's. I mean, is reality TV something you like doing?
It is something I enjoy doing. I certainly enjoyed doing it for those two shows because I had a chance to really advocate for autism families. So again, I like to parlay the things that I do and steer people back to our mission, which is helping families impacted by autism and Parkinson's disease. Autism, 1 in 44 children are impacted by autism in this country. And I think it's so important to constantly tell that story and to normalize autism and to help those families. So um, I love doing all that for those reasons. But Holly Rod Foundation is something that's so important to me that anytime I can mention it, I'm happy. So thank you for bringing it up.
Anytime. I have a lot of friends who have, children who are affected by this. So it is really, I think, a great cause, and it's more people than, it's more people are affected by it than one might think, just without really
Right. Oh,
knowing.
it's so the prevalence is so high. So we got to spread the word.
Absolutely. Are you a fan of reality TV? Like, do you watch like Real Housewives, Kardashians, anything like that? Or do you not watch reality TV when you're not starring on
Um,
it?
no, I am over the 2020, 2021 when a lot of us were inside watching, binging. My husband and I binged all the dating shows, like every single one of them. And so then, surprise, we were asked to co-host one that is on streaming now called Queen's Court, and we absolutely loved it. So we went and shot that last year in Atlanta, and it seems to be doing pretty well streaming right now on Peacock, and it was great. So yeah, I mean, we watched all those shows, and then careful what you watch because next thing you know, you might be hosting one.
Absolutely. Queen's Court is a great show, or be careful what you watch because you might be on a show one day. Lisa Rinna is gone from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Would you ever consider becoming a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills?
That is a hard pass. I would never, ever in a million years ever do that. I have friends on there. I think those shows, God bless them, but that I could never do that. It gets too personal and it's just too much. I get my nerves are bad. I can't be honest. I really struggle watching the housewife shows because I know some of the women, and whenever they start going at each other, my stomach goes into knots. So as long as you're not connected to any of those girls and you don't take it personally, you can look at it as pure entertainment. I can understand watching it, but for me, between Lisa and Garcelle and I can't, I just can't. So that would be a no for me.
You're like hard pass.
Mm.
Have you ever been contacted, like knowing Garcelle, like have they ever contacted you throughout the years to
Do you mean has the network contact me to try to get me on?
yeah, or just put the idea in
No.
your head?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. But I have a lot of friends who have really wanted to be on, who have been contacted. Like a lot of my friends have been contacted, and yeah, it's no, it's too much. It's just too much. I mean, I love that it's entertaining to some people, but ooh, it's just too much.
Well, listen, you're busy like with a Mass Singer, Queen's Court. You're busy with a lot of the Holly Rod Foundation. You're busy with other things. Before we get back to Mass Singer, I have a question, because you were, season one, you were an OG on the talk. I mean, so much
Hmm.
has been written over the years about your time on that show. Like, did you like that format? Like, would you ever consider that like another like panel talk show or talk show
I
again?
I loved that format, and I was really really good at it. And it just got weird and political and crazy, and it just got weird. But I would love that. I love that. Loved that show, and put my heart and soul into kicking that off and giving it a great first season. And then recently, after like 11 years, went back on the show, enjoyed that. So yeah, no, that's not something you really know you can do until you do it, right? When you're sitting there and doing live TV and interviewing people and throwing the commercial, and it's a lot of multitasking, and I felt like I was really good at it. So yeah, that was outside of, not continuing on, it was a really positive experience.
I thought that first season with you and Leah Remini was like honestly the best season the talk ever had, and I think it was the most authentic. So
I I would
right,
agree with you.
I thought it was wonderful. So I'm glad to know that you would consider it again.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything about yourself through this Mass Singer experience that you didn't know as a performer?
I learned that I still can sing. You don't, when I haven't, before I came on Mass Singer, I hadn't sang like that, like all out into a microphone and just, like I'll sing, and do a thing here and thing there. Like I'll, karaoke or do something funny or, or just like sing in the shower or sing in the car. But like standing on a stage in a whole full body mask and singing for my life like that, like I didn't, I'll be honest, like I learned that I could actually do that still. And I'm a certain age, and you don't know if you can still get your pipes and your vocals to do what you want them to do. And I want to send a shout out to Allison Porter, who was my vocal coach for Mass Singer. She is someone I've known pretty much most of her life, certainly her life and a lot of my life. um, my mother was her manager when she was on the movie Curly Sue. So we hung out a lot as young girls. She's younger than me, but she helped me get through that. She really supported me. And Miguel, who also does the musical directing. So yeah, I learned I could still blow a little.
Well, I loved your journey on this show. I loved watching you. You could certainly blow a little bit. Your voice was great. It was, long live the fairy.